I came across this very interesting post, which I've come across a handful of times in my life, but it's finally resonated to a point where I can give a perspective on it. Yep, go ahead, clap for me. I have sex. No, I'm just being facetious. What I'm trying to say is that I saw this post a couple of days ago speaking on the womanizer archetype of a dude and how he's trying to find the love of his first girlfriend or like his first heartbreak through all these women that he's running through, or whoever he's running through. I don't want to just exclusively make it like that. And from my own experience trying to go like that heartbroken playboy route, thinking that it was going to be the thing that like soothed all that pain that I was going through, rather than just doing the shadow work and like actually transforming myself, I've realized I wasn't necessarily pursuing the love of somebody else. Okay, maybe I'm saying that wrong. I wasn't only going into these other situationship or like non-real committal types of relationships for the sake of being loved by another person. What I was thinking, I was stupid enough, traumatized enough to believe that somehow I could continue with my unloved self and my unhealed self. Again, you don't fully heal, but not pursuing or committing to that healing for myself. Me not doing that and putting myself out there as if I was ready to be in a relationship, as if I was ready to engage healthily with other people, was so selfish. Not only because of the potential that it had to hurt other people, basically selling them a dream, even if I wasn't directly selling them a dream. But even worse, I was trying to get them to love me enough so that I could believe in love again. Not receiving love so I could reciprocate the love that I have for this person through myself in any way that was other than sexual. Now, I've never been a guy that's like, oh, let me show a whole bunch of energy and then feed them scraps and then just like drag them back to me out of like desperation. I've never been that type of dude. But the one thing that I've constantly been hit with is these like randomly, very, very randomly ending situationships. And it's almost like you try to build a consistency through that as if it can be something that you can utilize like a drug almost, rather than that being a whole independent human being who also has their own needs and their own lifestyle that's probably going to need a change when they realize that you aren't offering them what they want, and they probably shouldn't be giving you what they're offering you in exchange for what inevitably they were expecting. But all of that leads me to the point to where, and again, I do have a connections app that I'm boasting all over my YouTube. So go check that out if you'd like to. Fuck a dating app. What I'm trying to say is that there's so much of love that doesn't even necessarily have to do with what love is, because love is very subjective in itself. Not the only thing. The main thing that I'm seeing matters about love is the belief of the person who desires it. Even if the other person, okay, mind you, this is going to sound fucking crazy, so really, really be patient with me. Even if the other person doesn't believe in it, your belief in the love is what makes it real. Their reinforcement of it is what validates the reality of your beliefs. More times than not, many of us have these beliefs of people we want to love us, and we are putting them in a position to hopefully develop that love that we wanted for ourselves through them, rather than letting them, through like the ambiguity of human experience, let them grow to appreciating and loving us in a way that's authentic to them. So we don't have to hold them to these expectations like, you said you were going to love me. You said, rather than, I see you committing to me and I see you committing to this process, and I want to be committed to this with you as well. But I'm always going to say, and even this too, like the reason why you can't game love in a way that's like a very simplified form, like a swipe feature, is because love is so much more complex than that. Love is so much more creative, so much more authentic to the now of the person rather than the expectations of the potential that the person has to become and like who they're going to be and all this other shit. But especially for my boys out there, you got to realize this shit. I don't want you running through people's daughters, running through other adults' daughters with this mindset, thinking that like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm just, as long as that girl's chasing after me, or that girl won't stop blowing up my phone, or that girl's scratching into my freaking car, that must mean that she loves me. I want us to get that out of our head, bro. Don't ever put somebody's daughter in that position to think that that's what love is. Chasing your ass, nigga? Hell no. And don't ever put yourself in a situation like that, where you are humbling somebody else from the love that they deserve just to serve you, when you know you should be doing a little bit more work to do some shadow work so you can love that person that you desire with the fullness of who you are. Not just limiting them and trying to own them so they don't escape the expectations that you're imposing onto them. It's almost like when you allow somebody the freedom to make a choice, it's easier for them to commit to the choice that they made rather than forcing somebody onto an expectation and then assuming that that's not going to become claustrophobic after a second. But our belief in love, our belief in each other, our belief in even the love that we are cultivating within ourselves is so important, especially for this world we're walking into that's very individualized and very traumatized. Be able to have that appreciation for the love of the self, the relationship that you're cultivating, you're creating with yourself. And use those two beautiful eyes that you got on your head to see how many people are just swiping through each other, inserting themselves in each other like credit cards, and just completely non-cognizant, hope that's a word, of the depleting energetic exchange that's going on. Because something about love, and especially something about sex is an easy way to understand this concept, so let's just go about it that way. Love isn't something that you can, okay, you can, but I'm gonna try to explain this. You can't create a loving relationship without presenting something that you're sacrificing to the relationship. Okay? I need you to learn what it's like to start making those sacrifices for yourself, and to see how difficult it is to make those decisions, to see how important it is to make those decisions, see how pivotal it is to make those decisions, and then carry that standard into the relationship that you have in your life. The belief in love is going to come from you and your own self-discovery, your own awareness. Because then you may even find out that maybe the love of a human isn't what you need. Maybe the love of nature, maybe the love of the wind, of the trees, of the animals and the plants. Maybe that's the love you need. But stop terrorizing people, bro. Stop. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, for every single girl that you have on your roster, or every girl you want on your roster, imagine if you learned a new skill. Imagine if you learned how to ride a bike, you learned how to swim, you learned how to write, you learned how to read properly, you learned how to communicate, like public speaking, and articulate yourself, you learned how to cook, you learned how to clean, you learned how to develop an interior design that's authentic to your aesthetic, you learned how to develop communities, you learned how to be a part of a community, you learned how to contribute in a charitable fashion that extends beyond just giving money to a fund at the end of your Walmart transaction. You're going to, and I'm not telling you no fap, I'm not telling you to go celibacy. I'm just telling you, once you see how much energy you genuinely have that you're spending on really attempting to use somebody else to love yourself, and you just actually start to choose to love yourself with yourself and what you have access to in your life, and then allowing that to create a life that you love so you can let people into that life that you love and let them complement it. And then also, even better, when you've created a life that you love, when people aren't respecting that, you can let them leave and find what they're really looking for. And you can keep cultivating that love with you and the people who do love and appreciate you. How amazing is that? It's like a gift that keeps on giving when we just start to address from within.